Folks, we want to move on to a part of the night that's pretty special for us. If we could ask all your attention for just a moment, thank you. Thank you.
And if you've been here before, I know Jeff said earlier he's not a crier. As my wife will attest, I am a crier. And this is a really emotional part of the evening. It's a very special part of the program, a Fund a Cure portion of the evening. And this is your opportunity to personally support finding a cure for diabetes. And if we could just have everybody's attention just for a minute up here, that would be great. Many of us here tonight have a personal connection to the disease. And if you could please give your attention to the big screens here, we want to give you a very special video.
Hurt really bad.
I'm sorry. Heard you wince. You okay?
It all started December of 2008 of my 8th grade year.
Grayson got really sick over Thanksgiving, started to lose weight, was working out, drinking a lot of water, and we thought that was normal. And as the weeks progressed, Grayson lost more weight, and then she started throwing up for no apparent reason, no fever, nothing.
So my mom finally decided that we were going to go back to school because obviously nothing was wrong. And we got to the garage and I started vomiting uncontrollably. From there we went to the pediatrician where she took a couple tests and she said, worst case scenario, you might be diabetic.
We got my blood drawn there, and they're like, pack your bags, you are going to the hospital, you have diabetes.
And as soon as I got to Nationwide Children's Hospital, it became very apparent this is a very, very big deal.
And then I got home, and it was just so different. And now, eating is a bother. And going out, because I'm a girl, I don't have big pockets that I can just shove my pump in or shove my glucometer in. I have to walk around with it or walk around with a bag. And it's not what I want to do. I just want to walk around without having to carry anything or having anything in my pockets. I just miss being a normal teenager.
And they can't go to the dance, they can't go to a game, they can't do anything without thinking and processing how the diabetes is going to be impacted by that activity.
The scariest thing about diabetes for me that I worry for Grayson is long-term effects. Not managing, having trouble with her limbs, her eyesight. I know the lows aren't as bad, but the effects are scarier. I would hate to have to whip out that glucagon gun and use that.
Most type 1 diabetics a lot of them are diagnosed when they're really little. So they're like, I don't really remember what it was before diabetes, but I was diagnosed when I was 13. And I know what it was like. I knew how I felt. I was really happy before it all happened. And I just wish it could be different sometimes.
My biggest hope for Grayson is that they find a cure and she won't have to worry about this anymore.
My reaction to diabetes was definitely it could be worse. And the way I handled it was through comedy. I grieve differently than everybody, and it's definitely through laughing. I'd rather laugh than cry.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Grayson Willson.
My family and I are here tonight working with JDRF not to help me, not to help themselves, but to help bring awareness and focus to our mission of finding a cure for type 1 diabetes through the support of research. On January 8th, 2009, my life was turned upside down. I'm now a new person, a new diabetic, another new statistic. But I took all of that and turned it into being a new hope for the cure. Most people have no idea how it feels. They can watch a diabetic or try to talk to them, but they can't experience the pain or hardships. Being diagnosed at 13 was hard. I had to learn how to function differently in the life I've become familiar with. I couldn't just go somewhere without taking my disease into consideration. Whenever I was playing a sport or running around with friends, I had to stop and check my blood sugar. When I'm low, I need to set everything aside and give myself sugar, then wait 15 minutes for my blood sugar to rise to a healthy amount. People also have the hardest time trying to understand. They think, how hard could it be? She just has to check her blood sugar every once in a while and take medicine when she eats. And they're right. Type 1 diabetes doesn't have to be fatal, but it is a disease without a cure. It interrupts the life that I or any other diabetic want to live. It also makes me feel really guilty. When my blood sugar is off count, I feel guilty seeing my parents stress if I'm going to be all right. I feel guilty when I see them stress over how they need to set aside money for my medications in this tough economy. I feel guilty whenever I leave class and people think I'm using my disease as an excuse. I feel guilty because I complain, and there are people who go through things so much worse in this world. But I'm here tonight to change that. My friend used to tell me, you can't complain unless you're willing to do something about it. So I ask all of you here tonight to help me do something about this disease. Raise your number and help find a cure for so many people like me to return to a normal life, a life free of diabetes. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Grayson, Willson, and her proud, proud parents. Thank you for sharing your story with so many of us, and it is a story that so many of you are quite familiar with, but that is why this event touches all of our hearts tremendously.
And that story plays out over and over and over again so many times every day, and that's why we're here, to put that story to an end.
So now we'd like to bring back Jason for our Fund a Cure, because this is the critical moment where we all can make a difference. Jason?